course, that movie too. Oh, let me move to the other side. Oh, there we go. Procol Harum. Oh, nice transition. Very impressive, I gotta say. We have a great producer. I love her. Look at that.
Yeah.
That is awesome. The
Well,
big chill. I got a big chill just listening to this. I kid you
Well, I'll
not.
tell you that was one of those signature songs from the subject of our podcast tonight. We're
Ah,
basically celebrating the 40th anniversary of the release of the Big Chill, which uh, when I first started doing some research, I was under the impression that this had won the Best Picture that year. It actually it did not. It was nominated for Best Picture of the Oscars. I believe Terms of Endearment won that year,
yes,
and I
with
actually saw
Jack
that movie in
Nicholson.
the theater.
Yep,
Um,
great
yeah,
film.
and Shirley MacLaine and Deborah Winger and Jeff Daniel.
Jeff Daniel,
That was a
that's right.
momentous. That film has a warm John Lithgow too. Don't forget him. Yeah,
Yeah.
a bit part. Very momentous film for me. Just to digress from the Big Chill. That was the first date I went on with my wife was to see Terms of
Really?
Endearment.
Wow.
All those many years ago. Yeah, yeah. So kind of an interesting movie. Took a
I
day
would
to
say
because it was
so.
kind of sad, but it was anyway. But a great movie,
Yeah.
and it was deserving of the Oscar for sure.
Well, I was
But we're
I was
talking
gonna
about the Big
play
Chill night. I figured,
right.
let's most weeks we well, what I was going to say, most weeks we take on some pretty serious topics, and
Yeah.
I guess we'll delve into some of that later. But I figured I think we do something a little more lighthearted and retrospective. And we're roughly the same age, Phil, and I know you
Yeah.
probably have certain touchstone pictures in your life that you kind of remember, and like, where were you when you saw the first time, or how does it relate to
Yeah.
your life? I found
Well,
this movie and this cast for me was reminiscent of a kind of group that I was in college as well. When I was
mm,
back in Madison, Wisconsin, at the UW University of Wisconsin, I had a circle of friends over the years. Probably it was mostly guys, truth be told, you know. But it was like 7, 8 guys, and that were all like the 4 or 5 years that were all there. You got to know people, and people kind of came and went in your life and stuff. And it's ironic because
mhm,
if anybody remembers the movie, the reason why all these friends convene at that house somewhere in South
yeah.
Carolina was because of the tragic suicide of their good friend, who
Mhm.
and they couldn't understand why. And it's funny because I was just thinking about this movie, and it just occurred to me, like literally like 10 minutes before we went on tonight, that we had someone in our group that actually committed suicide as well. And it
Oh,
just
wow.
it I don't whether I suppressed it in my mind over all the years of memory. But there was a guy named Daniel. I won't mention his last name out of respect for his family, just for courtesy's sake. But his name was Dan, and we remembered him, and he was kind of a guy who was having some trouble coping with the whole social aspect of college, and I guess he felt he didn't fit in, and he apparently he took his life. He went home down to Chicago and never came back. We always he came up with a conversation, and someone just happened to mention, yeah, he OD'd, he took pills, and he killed himself. So
Mm,
it was kind of a sad thing, but so that's kind of a weird connection to the movie, because uh, they all meet for the funeral of a very interesting character, because the actor who was supposed to be in some scenes strictly as a corpse laying in a casket
mhm.
was none other than the famous Kevin Costner himself. So
Yeah.
Kevin Costner is actually given credits in the movie as one of the actors, but I guess they cut his
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 scene out.
scene in the
Yeah.
film of him laying in a casket. So that's
Mhm.
just one of those little trivia things. You say, well, was Kevin Costner in The Big Chill? Well, I don't remember being in The Big Chill. Well, he actually was. He was in the box.
Yeah.
Maybe he probably wasn't in the box. They had the thing. I don't remember specifically whether it was closed or open, but one of those weird, quirky things, right? and I guess the producers couldn't decide whether to have an open casket or not, and they just figured, I don't know, maybe they figured they didn't have to pay him as much if he just got a line item credit or
they got a SAG-AFTRA day rate or SAG day rate, not SAG-AFTRA back then. They were separate, which they should always have been separate. That's just me. Anyways, that's kind of what happened. You're right. They did eliminate him, but he went on to have a tremendous success, as an actor and as a director. As well, and a writer. So he's
of course, but I mean that he wasn't the known quantity
entity
at the time either. He was just starting out. So so they really didn't know what he was then or what he's going to be. But so my question to you, Phil, did you have any experience, common experience to what was portrayed in the movie? I mean, in terms of just a group of people you knew as in your early adult years, and kind of the bonding experience when you're young. You meet people when you're young, have groups of friends, and in theory they stay your friends your whole life, but shit happens.
You're telling me. I could relate to that. Yeah, that's exactly why I'm not friends with a lot of people anymore. And look at me, I'm turning red. Anyways, it's unbelievable. The sun, by the way, is very close to my face. I just thought you should all be aware of that. I am Satan.
You're turning redder by the minute.
I know it's kind of scary, folks. Let's talk about Tropical Storm Hillary, shall we? Yeah, I mean that's exactly it. I mean it's like people say, "Well, where were you?" I came from Hawaii. I mean, what am I supposed to do? I mean, it's the lights are. I'm blinded by the light, if I can quote Manfred Mann. But no, getting back to what you said, because we're going off the rails here on the crazy train. There was a time. Growing up in the, I guess, late 70s, early 80s, you start making good friends and, you have a lot of commonalities. You talk about the future, what you want. This was back in the 80s, which had just great movies. They really did compared to today. Yeah. That's just me. That's a fact. One of my favorites, of course, was The Breakfast Club, one I could completely relate to. Who hasn't been suspended? And there's every single quirk that's represented in that movie. But this one does hit home, The Big Chill, because I unfortunately also know somebody that did take their own life as well. And, I'm not going to give out his full name, but it had to do with a divorce. And, he was pretty, I'd like to use, I don't know if I'd like to use the word vulnerable or fragile. But when his mother met this new gentleman, he didn't like him and he felt that was his only way out. And, for him, it was a bridge. So, yeah, it is sad, I mean, even though
in the movie, the way they described the guy's suicide, they said that the guy was like this amazing, he's like a genius level intelligence, but he didn't want to really do anything with it other than really just become something of a regular Joe, kind of a contractor. Wanted to be a builder. So they didn't. So much for the loss of him just dying was, but they all were kind of calling into question, like the lost potential this guy had. That he could have done anything he wanted. He was so brilliant. He had everything going for him. Handsome guy. He had the girlfriend that Meg Tilly played, the girlfriend who was still hanging around. And so they're all sitting around trying to make sense of why the guy died. And during that, I guess, discovery, they all start to play out their own interpersonal relationships that were, I guess, in play from 15 years before when they had left University of Michigan to go lead their lives. One was like a fancy corporate lawyer that was Mary Kay Place. Kevin Kline was a sneaker manufacturer who was secretly being acquired by someone, and then William Hurt, of course, went to Vietnam. I guess had his privates damaged and became something of a, I guess, a late night talk show host. Boy, can we relate, right? and then a drug dealer. Apparently he was driving with drugs underneath his Porsche, whatever he was driving. Remember, he had to have it. He had it hidden under the car in case it got stopped. He wouldn't get in trouble. And then Jeff Goldblum was a writer. That's the guy from the
Jurassic Park and others.
And apartments.com.
Apartments.com, exactly.
His latest thing, right?
Brad Bellflower.
And then, of course, Glenn Close, who's been in, all different movies, different roles. And she was the wife of Kevin Kline in the movie. And then, of course, Jo Beth Williams, who is the housewife who brings her husband, of all things, to the funeral. And that was done by Don Galloway, who was, if you remember from Ironside, he was the guy that used to, I think he was one of the detectives in the old Ironside with Raymond Burr. And last but not least, Jeff Beringer, who was the character that was loosely based on Tom Selleck's, Magnum PI. And I think he was JT Bullitt, if I remember, where his big thing or the big joke in the movie was he has to jump into the sports car, like he does in the TV show. And the cop that pulled them over for speeding or something, pulled over William Hurt for speeding, but sees JT Bullitt there, like, aren't you JT Bullitt from TV? And he goes, and he's like, sheepish, like, yeah, it's me. Yeah, well, I'll tell you what, I'll let your friend off, but just a warning, if he'll do the jumping into the car thing, and they're all like saying, don't do it, don't take that crap from this guy. Don't do it. He goes, no, it's all right, I'll do it. He jumps in, and of course he lands on his balls or whatever he does, and he's like, and they all got a little laugh about it. But it was just I guess what was probably the most poignant for me about the movie was all the little conversations, all the little chatter and the banter that went on during the movie. And it just reminded me so much of like when you're in a room of like 8 people and everybody's sitting and like everyone's, sitting in different parts and they're all having conversations. And you kind of sit there and you're in this like ensemble of people. And you just, it's kind of a weird, it's a feeling, it's a good feeling because you feel like you're part of something and everybody, and you're just kind of like part of a group and everybody accepts you for who you are and stuff. And then of course, as they spend this weekend together, they start to explore or revisit some of the resentments and the things that they didn't like about each other. And those things start to come to the fore. And of course, William Hurt has got his problems and he's all like, he's very cynical and he hates the world because what happened to him. And he's very critical. And of course, then the famous lines when Jo Beth Williams, the brunette, says to him, as he's like, after he's chased everybody away from his nasty attitude, and she says to him, what happened to you? Like, what happened to you? Well, first to start, I got my balls blown off in Vietnam. I'm a drug dealer. I barely support myself, doing late night radio. And then of course, ironically, they always have to have like a little hook. Turns out Meg Tilly, who was the girlfriend of the guy who killed himself, she turns out to be a listener of his and knows him, and they end up stoking some kind of weird relationship, whether it's sexual or not, who knows. But all those things kind of weave and their way through to the show. But to the movie, what I found really interesting about how the movie was made, and I saw a video on YouTube a few months ago, where apparently they had all the cast members were all staying in like a series of houses along the beach in South Carolina. And it was a way for them to kind of bond and their practice scenes. So they spent like 2 months basically living kind of like they are portrayed in the movie. But these were all like people in their, dare say mid-20s already, maybe close to 30, established actors. But it was funny how they kind of like broke them down to make the movie so that they would have the chemistry,
Right. There we go.
Phil, you look like you look like a thermometer.
I do. I look like a jalapeno pepper.
Little horns popping up on your forehead.
I'm gonna just speak in a Mexican accent, like I just.
Yeah, I think I
came from Tijuana, señor.
Yeah, I think the lighting.
Adios
Like, when you
mío,
lean
que
back,
frío.
Yeah. your face gets whiter as you lean forward, so it must be some kind of backlit thing going on where your face is going dark red when you lean back. So just lean forward or lean back. It's kind of a cool effect, actually.
Yo necesito dos bebidas, por favor. Yeah, I'm telling you. Look at me.
Well, you're having hot
I am having hot flashes. Look at that. Even my skin is like peeling. Folks, put on sunscreen. All right, take that as to heart. Literally, it's red as a heart right now. Wow, look like a Montreal Canadiens.
Another really cool thing about the movie that I remembered was all the music that they wove into the plot. You know, you always have these scenes where they're like cooking and they're hanging out and you hear like I think they had Sympathy for the Devil, and you had Aretha Franklin, and of course the song that we opened up with, Procol Harum, from the late Gary Brooker, who sadly passed away a little over a year ago. He had been performing all the way almost up to his death, but
wow.
Yeah, and there's your ensemble. You see, and so you got your lower left is William Hurt. Jo Beth Williams is above him. You got Tom Berenger, I should say, not Tim, Tom. Glenn Close, Kevin Kline, Mary Kay Place, from Mary Hartman. Remember Mary Hartman?
Yes,
that's where she was. That was her break into the business, right? And of course Meg Tilly and Jeff Goldblum, who I guess they're all. The only one that isn't alive, sadly, is William Hurt. William Hurt, I think, passed away.
He did. He passed away this year, or I think it was this year in 2023, if I'm not mistaken. I could look that up on IMDb if you want. So I don't mind doing that.
No, it doesn't matter. But I mean, I just know that he passed away not all that long ago.
William Hurt. Wow, it hurts just talking about it. No pun intended. Yeah, he died in 2022. You are correct. March of 2022. Rest in peace, William.
And,
you're solid.
I remember him in Altered. Remember that movie Altered States? That was like his first real big hit, if I recall.
Yeah. That's
where
right.
he had some kind of weird, I don't know, like some like mutation thing where he became like some like caveman kind of thing. It was a really weird movie. I think I was watching it on mushrooms with a girlfriend, and I don't think I necessarily understood the plot very much, and I was probably not all that interested. I was more interested in the girlfriend at the time, but on the couch, but whatever. I just remember that movie. Yeah.
Broadcast News. I loved him in that too. He was really good.
Yeah. Much later in his career. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. That was really good in that. Boy, I'll tell you. Anyways, it is what it is. I'm turning red. I think William Hurt knows. I don't know if that's a sign where I'm going to be heading. It just worries me a little, but I'll be fine. Just get me some ice because I'm going to need it. I mean, this is unbelievable.
Well, you can relax later. You can tickle the ivories back there and just relax.
Look, I look like, it's scary. I look like Malachi. I'm going to play the piano in the background. I swear. Children of the Corn. Here's my impression of Malachi. I'll tell you. Good film, by the way. Really good film. Oh, geez. If you haven't seen it, Children of the Corn, 1984. Another great bonding film, especially if you're, into horror flicks, or if you're at the corn stalks in Iowa. Really good movie, Phil. Yeah, let's go on a date. It's like, whoo, that was intense. I'll tell you. Anyways, I know that piano is going to catch on fire in about 5 minutes. So yeah, look, it is what it is. I'm not satanic, thank God. I do believe in God, and I also drink my. Almost lost my coffee mug. Look at that! It got because of the green screen. Oh wow, that was very odd. Oh jeez,
Hunter's Blend.
Hunter's Blend. Yes. Aye, Captain. That's good.
Yes, one of our sponsors, Hunter's Blend Coffee.
Yeah,
from the guys there in Ohio.
Yes, that's right.
There is a humorous video up on YouTube that Mike did where he shows what to do with stale beer, and I'll just tease it. That look up Hunter's Blend Coffee, and put up stale beer. Just type in stale beer, and you'll see Mike's creative ways of dealing with dispensing with and getting rid of stale beer.
Oh,
And I think it was Anheuser Light was the beer.
oh, no
So
kidding.
yeah, I
Wow.
guess the Bud Light had all been destroyed weeks before. So it's just
Well, yeah.
whatever's left from Anheuser, same
Hmm.
company, right?
Yeah.
But
Wow.
so just kind of put, I guess, kind of wrap up the Big Chill thing.
Mm.
One thing that was kind of interesting for me was um, when I graduated from college, I left, came back to the East Coast,
Hmm.
and for whatever reason, my girlfriend at the time, who came with me, it just didn't work out. It kind of fell apart, and I ended up coming back to Madison to bring her back home to her parents up further northern Wisconsin. But I ended up back in Madison for a few months, and I was sitting in a living room with a bunch of these guys that were in this group that I was in, and I was sitting there watching The Big Chill for the first time.
Mm.
It was, I guess, it was on. This was in 1984, so it was on. It was either on HBO or Showtime, and we were
Wow.
watching the movie some Friday night. So this is what This is what was going on in my life. Girlfriend had broken up with me. I'm sitting there with a bunch of guys. They're all smoking Marlboro cigarettes, and I'm sitting on the couch feeling like really bad, like my life was in a really bad place. And one of my old roommates comes walking up the stairs, and he says to me, "What are you doing here? I thought you graduated. I thought you left. Why are you here? And where's
Mm.
your girlfriend?" I
Oh,
actually, yeah,
jeez.
yeah. His name is Mark, and he's a very, very well-known commercial photographer, very successful guy from
Mm.
St. Louis. And I'm sitting there, and I'm like, I looked at him like, oh, it's just such a long story. Tell you everything that happened over the last 3 months. All I know is I'm sitting here watching The Big Chill, and I'm thinking to myself, it's like I was like watching the movie, but I was like in the movie. I was like in my own version of The Big Chill, where I'm
Mm.
back with this group of people that I hadn't been with for about a year. It hadn't been that long, but all of a sudden I realized that, wow, I never really liked you that much, Mark, because you always said stuff that really always stung. So I started like, and I
Ooh.
realized I'm sitting around here, all these people that are smoking. I hate cigarettes, and I'm just breathing all the
Mm.
cigarette. I'm thinking, God, my life was it had just really just gone straight downhill, and it was just ironic that I was watching this movie with these people, because it was like six of these people that were like in that group of eight, and then the seventh guy comes walking up the stairs and gives me the dressing down, and it was the last time I ever saw any of those people. I left
Wow.
that that place. I went home to my apartment, and I said to myself, okay, this is not working. And I just ended up, I had a job and everything, but a job
Mhm.
that I really hated. And I was in my car driving back east to at the time, New Jersey, where my dad lived. Just it was funny how that evening set me off. I realized that I'd made a huge mistake. I mean, I'd made a lot of mistakes, but one of them was coming back to Madison and being with this group of people that I had kind of left. I jettisoned. I went on to live my great life, and here I was back there inexplicably to my former roommate. Like, what, you know, why are you here? It's like, I don't know. I shouldn't be. So I left. It's true story, true enough. So I have this weird like love hate thing with The Big Chill. It reminds me so much of my own life, and how it can relate to the interpersonal relationships that all these people had, that they all said they loved each other, but really there was all these little resentments that people had for each other, that they
Wow.
kind of like you kept underneath, because it's like they say, one of the lines that William Hurt says in the movie, it's profound, that it was easy to like everybody. It was easy because no one had really developed who the person they were going to become yet. So
Yeah.
everybody was kind of like generic. So it was easy to make friends. It was easy to like people because
Mhm.
people didn't give you a reason to dislike them yet. They didn't like get, take sides politically, and all that kind of stuff, where you would
Exactly.
start to know how someone really is, how they really feel, the person they become, or do they sell out to become like a corporate, you know, clone, or do they become, someone that, borderline criminal, drug dealer, right? And he's kind of have to
Globalist.
globalist, yeah, you know,
uh,
money, corporate lawyer and all that kind of stuff.
mm-hmm.
Anyway, so that was and anyway, it all kind of more or less ended up a happy ending because the girl that broke up with me is now my wife.
Wow.
Has been, well, that was Sue. That is Sue.
Amazing.
Yeah, so it's a funny how life works out. In fact, at our wedding 5+ years ago, our song that we played was by the Moody Blues, "Isn't Life Strange?" Because it really is. Life is very strange. That was what she came out with. Her late father, gave her away again. This time to the man she was supposed to be married to all those years ago.
Amazing.
Anyway, so it really is amazing. So that's kind of where the big chill. Yeah.
Oh my God!
You've met my lovely bride, so you know her.
Yes, I have. Absolutely. I'll drink to that.
So, let's give a quick shout out to one of our newest sponsor. That is Miles Franklin Precious Metals. I'm looking forward next week. There's their beautiful logo. Next week we will have the man himself. He has committed to or he will soon be committed.
Oh dear.
For agreeing to come on. But
welcome to my world.
We'll have the man Andy Schectman himself. Andy Schectman will be on the whole show with us next week, and we're going to get a learning. We'll learn a little bit about the company, but also just learn a lot about what's going on in the world and how it all kind of relates to wealth protection and stability and real money and the state of our economy and the profligate money printing by the Federal Reserve and other central banks. And we'll talk about all the cool things that he sells. Like, have you like last week, Phil? I think I showed you a silver eagle from the U.S. Mint. This is, pardon me. This is a kangaroo. It's from Perth, from Australia, down under.
Down under.
Beautiful 4 9s. And there is the late Queen of England.
She's right.
Head down because she's in the dirt now, I guess. Oh, there she is. Yeah. There you go. There's literally. Elizabeth. There she is. Yeah. Now the new ones have of course have King Charles on there, but these are 4 9s pure, which are always nice. I mean, 3 9s are good too, but 4 9s are the best. Pure as pure gets. He's got those at 415 over spot right now. Now, of course, we have our standard U.S. Eagle. Who doesn't love these babies? I don't know if you can see that well, the reflection, but love these Eagles. These
beautiful.
These babies are the prettiest coins out there.
Well, I have
these are right now probably some of the. There we go. Yeah,
it's nice. No, we saw it. It's beautiful. Yeah, gorgeous coin. My God.
Yeah, right now those are like $5.99 over spot, which is the best price that I follow this stuff religiously because I buy a little bit and I've been for like the last 7 years. Right now the cost of silver eagles, the premiums, are about as low as they've been in about 4 years. They're right now. Andy's doing them for $5.99 over spot, so you can buy eagles for under $30 from Andy. There's no minimum order, so. And there's better price for larger quantities, but that's something to be spoken about, with a phone call. But for people that have any interest that are watching, reach out to me at my email address. I'll send you their inventory list and all their current pricing. And we did flash some specials on there from last week. They are still good this week. Those are the coins from Bulgaria. Those are 4 9 pure as well. And can you just flash it up there real quick, Rebel? The special sheet. Yeah, there we go. The 1 ounce silver ball mint rounds with Bulgaria mint, $250 over spot. So those are that is about as good a price you're going to find for 4 9 silver anywhere. And again, you can buy any quantity of those. You can buy them by eaches. They come in boxes of like 400 for a more substantial purchase. But that is a great deal right now. So milesfranklin.com is their website. If you contact them by email, you want to go to info@milesfranklin.com. In the subject line, please put in Face for Radio or Face, or just mention that you saw them on our show. and we'll make sure that you get the best pricing forwarded to you, and deal with some of their great brokers there. I've been a customer of theirs for going on 4 years now, and
Wow.
they're great. I mean, they package the product really well. It's discreet when it shows up to your house. You know,
Very important.
people don't know what it is. Although I will say, my FedEx guy, he's on to me, because I after about my 5th or 6th order, he says to me, "Hey, your silver's here," because it's a small box and it like weighs a lot, and I didn't know what this. I mean, like, well, thanks a lot. No, well, I guess so.
Wow.
Buy a safe.
Yeah, seriously.
Please
My
buy.
God. That could be a future sponsor, a safe company.
So, so anyway, so that's Frank next week. Andy Flesh will be here. We'll pray for good internet, right on cue as you buffer. And let's go to we'll go to our other sponsors, and we'll be back after the break.
Looks like you've been sleeping well.
Megan, he's back. The MyPillow guy.
And you're looking good.
Still feeling good.
Well, just when you thought it couldn't get any better, we've got the best pillow ever, MyPillow 2.0. When I invented MyPillow, it had everything you'd ever want in a pillow. Well, now there's new technology that makes it even better. MyPillow 2.0 has my patented fill combined with a cooling fabric with temperature-regulating thread. MyPillow 2.0 is truly the next generation of MyPillow.
The best sleep just got even better. Whether you have a MyPillow or not, you need to get the brand new MyPillow 2.0. Call or go to MyPillow.com now. Use your promo code, and for a limited time when you buy one, you'll get a second one absolutely free.
You're sleeping even better.
And cooler, too.
And you're looking good.
Feeling good.
I knew you would.
Visit MyPillow.com.
Hunter's Blend Coffee, premium coffee for freedom-loving Americans. Many coffee importers view the world very differently than you do and would support lobbyists that fight against the Second Amendment, hunting, and our God-given freedoms. No matter where you buy your coffee or who roasts it, someone had to import the green coffee beans. Well, we are the coffee buyer, importer, and roaster. So from the farmer to your mug, you can feel confident that your morning coffee has been safely in the hands of patriots. Hunter's Blend Coffee.
Look at that, folks. It's hard to see because of the...
Ask not what your country can do for you. You can do for your country.
This is a 67 JFK half dollar. That's right. It's 40% silver plated. And I got this one at the bank. I got lucky on that
kidding.
day. Yeah.
Really?
Seriously.
Wow.
That's incredible. You can hear the silver. Well, not on here. I need metal. But if I could use this for a little bit. Oh, that's beautiful.
Yeah, these things are wonderful. I love these things. They just. This is real money, folks. Constitutional.
Yes,
well, the Eagles are. This is real money for Australia. This is constitutional money. It's in the Constitution. Silver and gold are the coin of the country. The mint is real money. So, enough of that. Preaching to the choir, right? Funny, talking about Hunter's Blend, I've taken to doing something new. I'm intermittent fasting again, kind of starting up the old, keto machine. And one thing that I started to do this morning, or yesterday, I did it for the first time. I put turmeric, a teaspoon of turmeric in my black coffee, because I'm staying true to form here. No milk in the coffee when you do the intermittent fasting. You can drink coffee, can't have any sugar or anything in there. But I snuck some turmeric in there.
Okay.
No milk. No, it's just what you're really not supposed to really be eating anything till you break your fast. But if you have coffee, that you can do coffee, just no milk in it or sugar.
Right.
But I put the turmeric in there as a metabolism booster, because you know that guy who's on he's everywhere. The guy with always has his shirt off, and he's always he's hanging. He's eating pizza. He's like, I think it's called.
I got my turmeric. Oh,
yeah, exactly,
man. Look at those red abs.
Yeah, look, yeah.
All right.
Hey, you got abs, man. Okay, you're
And
you're
they're
ahead of the
red.
game.
They're on fire. I'm on fire, folks. It's the turmeric. It's burning me up, and I love it.
That's right.
Woo!
Or maybe
I'll tell
too much niacin.
Yeah, that too. Exactly.
That'll
Yeah,
turn you.
I
That'll turn
had-
you beet red.
Well, I had too much niacin earlier. Sorry, but I'm now going red. All right. Woo, that's a scary voice. Anyways, geez Louise. I feel like a hockey
God.
player. I swear. It's like I'm wearing makeup.
I'm happy to say the turmeric you really can't taste. So
Oh.
it's weird to put this orange stuff into your coffee, but you stir it up, you drink it down. You know, black coffee has kind of a, you know, you have to really like coffee to drink a coffee black, but
Hell
thankfully we're drinking blend, so it's all good.
It certainly is.
So I figured we got a little bit of time left. Let's talk about the I guess the Maui thing is still front and center. I know all of a sudden now the focus has been shifted to all the flooding in LA and all that, but I think the Maui thing still takes precedence at this point,
I would say so.
And
it's
funny
versus a laser fire. Come on, it's really
well on that topic. So I was watching Alex Jones today. He was interviewing some guy, and so Alex Jones would be probably the first one that would talk about a DEW, direct energy weapon, but he is pretty adamant about that. This fire or fires were started by the transformers on the poles that got knocked over by wind and started fires, because they actually have video surveillance of people's home cameras, whether they're home security cameras, showing these things getting knocked over by a gust of wind, sparks flying, and then the dry brush lighting right up. So if he's sticking to that and he's pretty confident, I mean, it seems like he's the kind of guy that he would at least put the notion out there that it could have been the other, but he seems very adamant about, no, it seems legitimate that this fires started due to, and he would be correctly stating this fact, due to the negligence of Hawaii Electric, that had a stated policy of not wanting to put any money into infrastructure to, first of all, trimming back the trees where all these light, power poles were, and
California
transformers
has the same problem.
That they were committed to doing the new green agenda, that all the money that they're spending was to be putting in all these, the new smart city thing that they were kind of very boldly talking about. It was something that was in the works, and they were touting it like this was, Maui's future. But the fact that they didn't trim trees back and they let these things kind of, not maintain them well, that when the gust of wind fell them, started the fires. But then there's a whole other layers of, you want to call it malfeasance, ineptitude, incompetence, maybe some of it willful about like blocking or feeding people into the Front Street area of Lahaina and causing a bottleneck of cars.
Oh my God.
Eventually they all were basically incinerated.
Yeah.
Plus the fire came down, but then there's all the speculation about
the sirens didn't work.
Well,
I mean, what the hell?
And there's no water in the hydrants either.
Oh,
no water in the hydrants. Sirens didn't go off. They said that, well, they only wanted to use the sirens in the event of a tsunami, that they didn't want to have people, you didn't want to use it frivolously, like for a fire, It was exclusively for tsunamis, because
that's unbelievable.
Like
an earthquake, forget it. A typhoon, don't worry. And when it's a tsunami, we'll let it go.
The rationale.
We're on a budget.
The
rationale is siren noise.
You scratch your head and you go like, and so now people are resigning all over the place. They get the head of emergency services basically just walked away and says he's leaving because of health reasons, but he's obviously culpable in that he was involved in decision making to not alert people. So I guess the weird thing about the cars being all burnt though was that there was melted aluminum that was like spilling out under the engine blocks. These cars are made of aluminum, to be lightweight. Aluminum is strong, with alloys, but apparently for aluminum to melt, it melts at like over 1,000 degrees. And apparently, the cars were obviously melted away. The glass melted away.
Yeah.
So it seemed like they burned hotter than a normal fire would have burned. That they said a normal fire would burn around 600 degrees. This was indicative of something well over 1,000 because it melted the aluminum and it poured out like
like
kind
the
of like
Terminator.
in the Terminator too.
Terminator, exactly.
Terminator. Right. It looks like that, like pooled, like if you were smelting, silver to pour into, make it into coins. You take it out of the old smelter as it comes out liquid form. That's what it looked like on the ground. So there's that issue. So that kind of then spills back into the idea, well, was there something more sinister at play here? Was there something?
Well,
maybe there was the initial cover, and then they use the other stuff to come in and do the cleanup and just totally pulverize everything,
Here's what also is weird. You have these people trying to
Allegedly.
distribute food. Allegedly, right. Got to use that word. I forgot. Just like the laser. But anyways, allegedly, there were a bunch of people trying to get food because they desperately need food and water. They've lost everything. And then the cops come, break it up and say, this is an illegal distribution center. You have to stop now. We just got our orders. So there's a lot of that crap happening in the name of equity. The Biden regime basically said, here's $700, go away. We don't want to hear from you. Meanwhile, tens of billions of dollars is being sent to Ukraine to foment World War III with Russia. I tell you, this world is so fucking upside down. Pardon my French. I'm so damn angry. My government sucks.
Ukraine got their F-16s after all.
Yeah.
Of course, they have no one to fly them, so we'll be
Thank
probably
God.
flying those planes too, right? Well,
Yeah,
they'll have NATO pilots, but they'll be, they'll just be, Air Force pilots from us.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's just like we're stumbling into something that just could be catastrophic for the world, let alone the area. But like we can do anything about it, right? So
I know.
But
we're just two radio hosts,
just
for crying out loud.
Well, when we're talking about, obviously the causes of the Maui fire. So you saw that thing I posted on Facebook with the spaceship, right? That someone on BitChute had posted a video, and they're standing there looking out the weird clouds and stuff, and this was like just before the fire started. And I guess to his naked eye, he saw something shoot across, and then he took the video and slowed it down. You could see there's some kind of a craft, long, whether it's white or silver, but long and thin, shooting across like this, faster than a speeding bullet, right? And it was just so ironic because we did the show last week about close encounters and extraterrestrials.
Yeah.
I posted a picture that I didn't take the picture. My friend Leo took the picture. He sent it to me. It was right after the in March of 2020. So right during those early months of the pandemic and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And he sent me this picture, and I don't know why, but I had it on my phone and I enlarged it because there was some weird clouds and stuff. Oh, I know what it was. He was saying to me that it looks like they're doing the chemtrails again, because apparently there were chemtrails in the sky. And I'm like, and I go, yeah, because we had been talking about how, for all we know, they're probably raining that stuff down on. They're probably raining the sea stuff, the word.
Yes.
Bird is the word.
Bird is the word.
They're probably aerosoling it on top of us for us all to come down with it and get sick. For all, I was saying it tongue in cheek.
Look at me. I turned red. I turned red. This is what happens. They spray.
But that was the purpose. But that was why he sent me the picture. And then I take the picture and I enlarge it and I enlarge it and then I save it and I enlarge it. And sure enough, there's this same craft hanging in the sky. I mean, it was like identical. It was the same lengthy white kind of like, and it was sitting there almost like a drone, but it wasn't moving. It was just kind of stationary. And so when I saw this video the other night, I'm thinking to myself, oh my God, that was the exact same thing that I shot, or that he shot, that I saw, that I enlarged. I keep on qualifying it. It doesn't matter how I got it. But anyway, I put it up on Facebook,
Well,
kind of like as this was 3 years ago. This was, go ahead.
You sent me a video a year ago, and it looked like some unidentified flying object. It was either at night or it could have been early in the morning. You sent it to me. I looked, I said, geez Louise, that's kind of freaky. And to witness it firsthand, boy, it's a game changer. It really is. Who knows what's going on? There's just weird war games.
It's not the first UFO I've seen. I saw one almost 31 years ago in upstate New York. I was living in Warwick, New York, and we lived at a pretty up a hill, a bunch of condos, and you could look out over the cut to the north and east towards Newburgh, and where there's an airport. So on a clear night, you'd see the stars like you wouldn't believe. I mean, it's like beautiful. I mean, we're up probably maybe about 1,000 feet up. So you looked over the valley, the Warwick Valley, the Wallkill Valley, and all that stuff. And just one night, I remember I was sitting there getting out of my car, and I was listening to the end of November Rain from Guns N' Roses. So I was hanging out in the car, waiting for the song to end. And I get out, and I remember I was looking out of my windshield at all the lights of 20 miles away. And as I'm walking out, I look up, and sky was completely black. It was a clear night. There was no clouds in the sky. Clear night. I look up in the sky, and it was pitch black. And it was like this weird kind of silence. Like, I had a bag of Chinese food in my hand, I remember. And I'm sitting there, and I'm staring up, and I see total blackness. And then all of a sudden, I see the stars come back. So there was this huge triangular black thing. And I don't know if it was black, but it was dark. And it was moving to the northeast. And I could actually see all the stars coming back into my field of vision as it would move along. So it was that big. It blocked the whole sky out. So I don't know how high up it was, but that same craft that I saw was on an episode with Robert Stack, that show he used to do.
Yeah, Unsolved Mysteries.
Unsolved Mysteries.
Yeah,
about a triangular UFO that was over the Taconic Parkway in upstate New York. While some guy was like driving and chasing it, and he went off the road because the road bent, and he just went sort of like Close Encounters when the cops just they're chasing the UFO, and the road bent to the right, and they just keep going straight because and they go flying off the road. It was kind of like one of those things. That was the story, but it was just so just ironic. It just makes you think about that, because there's all these speculations about whether are we actually the owners of these crafts? Did we reverse engineer this stuff that we found, or are we using these things to light up, parts of whether California, whether it's Canada, Maui? I mean, that's what all the chatter is on all the.
Well, look at all the fires. You got all these fires
Facebook
in Western Canada. You got fires in Quebec, and it's. I'll tell you, this stuff is never ending, and it's by design.
It's starting up again.
It's
starting
all by
up
design.
again. I know.
Of course.
Scary.
Well, wait till they start up. Everyone's got to don a hockey mask, if you know what I mean, in the next month or two. But
well, you'll need more than that. You're gonna need to have oxygen so you can breathe.
Yeah, right. Exactly. That's why you poke holes in it. I make mine look like Jacques Plante. The original mask. Anyways, wow, what a show! I'll tell you, it's been interesting.
Yeah, we covered a lot of base here. Well, anyway, so it was great to see you again, Phil.
Same here.
We'll take this up again next week. Hopefully, we'll have our guest Andy Schectman to kind of like give us a little bit of a walkthrough of Miles Franklin, and we'll talk about the industry and maybe I'll try to find The Big Chill and watch it all over again. and see if I could pick up any new tidbits and little funny lines that kind of went over my head or escaped me the first time. Okay, guys.
Exactly.
Well, Phil, hasta
la vista, baby.
We have a little delay there. See you next week, guys. Bye.
Hey, thanks for tuning in to Face for Radio. Check us out next week. I'm Richard Marks.
And I'm Phil Hirsch.